It's almost palpable. You can feel it in the air. Alabama football is about to make some news on the recruiting trail. Stick around, y'all. This is Way Offsides. What's going on, Way Offsides family? Welcome into your weekly recruiting update. We do these shows once a week because you guys absolutely love recruiting talk. So we're going to jump right into it. We're not going to waste your time. We're going to be pretty quick here today because there are four guys that I'm going to talk to you about. Two of which you're probably very familiar with, especially if you follow the channel. Another one that you probably started to hear about, and one you haven't heard much about, but I feel like you need to keep on your radar. Now, saying just because Cotton says, hey, this could happen, that could happen, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Recruiting is always fluid. So do not crucify me if it doesn't pan out. Let's take a look at our Whoop board. For those of you who are new here, our Whoop board is our Way Offsides official prediction board. And what that is it shows you who we've whooped, officially predicted, much like other places do, crystal balls and things like that, who we've whooped to land with Alabama. So far, you have three guys that we have whooped, one of which we hit. That would be Jordan Edmonds. Next up is five-star running back. Some outlets have him as a four-star, but out of Jackson, Alabama is Xavier. And then five-star wide receiver out of Benjamin Russell High School, Kalen Morgan. Now, you guys know those names. We've talked about Kalen Morgan. We've talked about Xavier Crowell a lot. And we're going to talk about them a little bit today because both of them would be five-star recruits. A lot of people have Xavier Crowell as a four-star, but I think before it's said and done, once all the recruiting rankings are fine-tuned, Bama bump, this and that, Crowell will absolutely get his fifth star leading in to the 2026 recruiting. Like, oh my goodness, sorry, had a brain fart. The 2026 recruiting finish line. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry if you can't tell, I've been at the beach all day. I'm a little fried, too much sun. You know how it goes. But so you've got Crowell, you've got Morgan, you've got Jordan Edmonds, who is already committed. Assuming Edmonds holds fast, that gives you 3 5-stars right there. Well, guys, there's the potential for Bama to land probably 5 or 6 this class. There is a strong potential for that when it's all said and done. One of those guys that no one is talking about is 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin. Now, what about Xavier Griffin? Well, Griffin was committed to USC. He decommitted last week. The very next day, scheduled an OV to Alabama, and 247, their dogs page, their Georgia Bulldogs page, crystal balled Griffin to Alabama. Now we'll see how that plans out because Alabama's not his last OV. He's going to go to Georgia. He's going to go to Texas. I know actually he's not going to go to Georgia, but he's going to go to Texas. We all know what happens there. They're going to throw some money at him. But I firmly believe, based off of what I'm hearing on the streets, that Alabama is doing their part this season to play the NIL game more effectively and efficiently. So we'll see if that remains to be true, how Alabama finishes out with this recruiting class. But another name that you guys need to be aware of, somebody that you need to watch, and that we haven't talked about much, is Buford, Georgia defensive lineman, 4-star James Morrow. Now, Morrow right now, just according to these other recruiting agencies online, he seems to be favored to, you guessed it, the Auburn Tigers, with Georgia and Florida barely in the mix. So this is really a race between Alabama and Auburn. However, there's just some folks that we know that we kind of monitor, if you can read between the lines and watch what's happening, that have made some comments that lead me to believe that Morrow is starting to lean Alabama and that there may be a decision coming very soon. Now, speaking of decisions, you've probably all seen it. If you follow us on X, if you don't, what are you doing? You need to, because that's where you get the majority of this information before anybody else. If you follow us, you've probably seen that there's a lot of hints dropping. And it's not just from us, it's from people all over Bama Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these different places, that there could be a decision made very, very soon by a potential 5-star running back that we've already aforementioned, and that is Xavier Crowell. Crowell also last night posted, retweeted Hayes Fawcett and told him, a little hourglass, like, hey man, it's getting close to time. If you guys don't know who Hayes Fawcett is, Hayes Fawcett he works for On3, creates these graphics for recruits. He usually knows who's going where before anybody else. Hayes does great work. So you've got that, but on top of that, Crowell's retweeting Alabama players and who are saying, hey, who's next? Who's coming up next with, eye emojis. So he's either trolling the hell out of Alabama fans, or he's making it known that his decision, which should be coming up very soon, potentially this week, will be Alabama. Now, I think that Crowell's the kind of recruit that can cause a cascade of other recruits to go ahead and make the decision to commit. I like it and I don't like it at the same time, because as exciting as it is for Alabama to shoot further up recruiting rankings, they're currently sitting at number 9. It's May, right? And National Signing Day is still months and months away. The season still has to be played. There's going to be a lot of promises made to people. If Alabama is not following up with folks once the season starts as much as they want, then they could flip their commitment. Caleb Cunningham was a guy that did that last season. So I think I like the momentum a little more than I dislike it, because Alabama is going into the strongest part of their recruiting year, and that is the summer break. Last year, Alabama absolutely just massacred folks on the recruiting trail in Kalen DeBoer's first year. The only place they didn't really win a lot of their battles was in the state of Alabama, right? Now, Kalen DeBoer and their staff is more established in the state. They've got a more rapport with these high school coaches who are in these athletes' ears. If I'm right about the NIL, there's a lot more wiggle room to compete with that place down the street. And Alabama, I do believe, will win the state of Alabama. Right now, they're already predicted by Steve Wiltfong and others to land 2 in-state 5-star recruits in Kalen Morgan and Xavier Crowell, who I think will commit very, very soon. So I do like it more than I hate it, just because Alabama moving into the summer, they're going to be on fire. And if they can keep that momentum going through the summer, and if they have the season and the showing that we expect them to have in the fall, a lot of these kids are going to be excited about coming to Alabama. And when you get these high name recruits committing, other kids see that and they want to go play with them. So I think Alabama's sitting in a very good spot to finish in the top 3, if not to make a push for the number 1 class in 2026. I think that there will be some guys who are committed other places who will end up signing with Alabama when it's all said and done. I think there are some guys who are down to their final 4 schools right now. Alabama's not in those final schools, and Alabama will still end up signing that athlete. I think that is just kind of the nature of NIL and recruiting right now. So we will see. We will see what happens. But what I want you to watch right now, outside of the potential commitment from Xavier Crowell, is James Morrow. So let's talk about him. We haven't talked about him much. He's about 6'3", 240-pound defensive lineman. He's out of Beaufort, Georgia. We all know other kids out of Beaufort, Georgia, who have committed to Alabama. The most popular one being Mr. Haynes, who is no longer at Alabama. He is running back for the University of Michigan. But Freddie Roach is the primary recruiter for this kid. He's a 4-star. I think he's overall like 85 rated. So he's not super high, but he's a guy that could be a project for Alabama, something that they could work with and build. He's not going to come in and be a day 1 starter. Not to say that he's not going to impact a class or a roster if he's on it, but this is a guy that Freddie Roach and company can really, really work with and get in there. And in a year or so of learning, fine-tuning his skills, he could be a very, very effective down lineman for Alabama. Now, there's some rumors out there that he may be committing soon, and it may fall in the Tide's favor. I believe with those 2 commitments, that should put Alabama right outside of the top 5. And then with a couple other commitments that I think will come down the road, one of those that we've already whooped, Kalen Morgan, it'll just catapult Alabama in the top 3. And I think they'll stay there for a while because I think the summertime is going to be a very lucrative time for Alabama in terms of recruiting and commitments, especially towards the end of summer before the dead period. So just keep your eyes open. And if you're not following us, you automatically you need to go do it right now. You need to just stop. Let's stop talking. Go hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You can find us on social media everywhere, because if you want the most updated information from us, that's where you're going to get it. Now, these videos that we do, these uploads, are usually short, 8-10 minutes, something like that. Sometimes they go to about 15. So maybe you want a more in-depth experience of what's in the brain of Cotton or Chris or Jeff or even Bill, who's out of the country and not coming back until you guys all subscribe. Well, you can do that now at wayoffsides.com. That is 4 A's. 3's not enough, 5's too many, 4, just like in the word Alabama. We have a new website. You can go read our blog articles there. I just posted one last night talking about Kalen DeBoer's visit with Mr. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN's The Feinbaum Show and what he said about his starting quarterback position. So be sure you're doing those things, because if you do them, you keep track. And then join our live shows on Thursday night. They're a lot of fun because, at Way Offsides, we bring you the best and most updated Alabama football news, but we do it different. We have a good time. We don't take ourselves too serious. I'm just some dude in his garage right now. I got a green screen behind me, man. Like, just hang out with us, man. That's all I'm asking. But we absolutely love you. You guys are the best. As always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.